2 years ago today, I woke up, I put this shirt on, and I knew it was a day that was going to change my life forever. Up till that point, I had spent 3.5 years on crutches. I had been in constant pain. I lived on painkillers for three to four times a day. It was unbearable at times. I lost track at 29 different health providers that I went to looking for answers, and no one could help me. No one would offer me hope. No one could give me answers. I would go into the top, I mean, we're talking top doctors, and say, hey, I have avascular necrosis in my femur bone. I've been on crutches and I need some guidance on where to go next. And the best advice that I received was to walk on crutches for the next 10 years until my knee completely collapsed, and then go and get a knee replacement. That was unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. I mean, I wasn't even 30 years old, and they were saying basically just live in pain, live on painkillers, you'll be fine. And I knew for myself that's not the way I wanted to live. So I did my research. I empowered myself. I spent countless hours crying in pain, but also looking for answers. And honestly, coming across the Regenexx procedure was one of the most things I'm grateful for in my entire life, because I went in there and they were honestly the first people that gave me hope. They said, oh yeah, we see this all the time. I'll be honest, they told me that there was a 50-50 shot of it actually working. But 50-50 to me was fine. Everyone else was saying there was nothing they could do. And not only did it work, I mean, it worked tremendously. So by a couple months out, I was off my painkillers and down to one crutch. By 6 months out, I was off all my painkillers. I was off off my crutches, and I was really like starting to get back to life. Now, March 26th is when I had my re-injection. So by September, I was down to using no crutch a lot of times, but if I went to sporting events or if I went to something that I had to walk a lot, I would still take my crutch. And my crutch really became a crutch in my life. And I actually used it for a few more months just because I thought that I needed it. So when I would go to Steeler games or when I went to a WVU game, like I would take my crutch so that people knew that I wasn't going to be able to walk the same distance or the same pace as everybody else. So really it was just truly a crutch. So I would say by December, I was completely back to what I was before. That's when Regenexx came out and did a video on me. And, some people say like, oh, did you get paid to do that? I get so many people, like honestly, so many people every single week reaching out to me, and I didn't get paid to do that. I honestly feel so strongly about this procedure that I want people to know about it. I want people to realize that they have options, that when doctors aren't giving you options, or if they tell you surgery is the only option, that's not the only option. Given half a chance, our bodies will heal itself by itself, but we have to give it half a chance. So that means changing our diet. That means living a healthy lifestyle. That means being positive and living out what we want to achieve and really go for. And, when we aren't feeling well, it's not always just turning to a surgical solution or a medication solution, like really looking at our lives. So within the Regenexx procedure, I knew I needed help. With my condition, I knew I needed help, right? Part of my femur bone died in 2 places. And no matter what I did, it wasn't going to regenerate itself. So by using the tools that I could find, I went out to Colorado and they took stem cells from my hips, injected it into my knee. And as of last year, so a year out, 60% of my bone had regenerated. And you may think like, oh, well, 60%, like obviously you're not 100% better. But the way that it regenerated, it solidified it. So my bone, so picture this, my femur bone, okay? So this is the top of my femur bone coming down. Right here, a big chunk of it was dead. And the way that you walk and you put pressure on it, it was starting to crumble. So my knee was kind of going like this, and that part was breaking down. And that's why I had to be on crutches, because people or doctors were afraid that my knee was just going to completely collapse. And so the way that the bone has regenerated, it solidified down the bottom and it encapsulated that dead part. So it kind of like zeroed in on it. So it's making it smaller and smaller, which strengthened my bone. So I no longer have to worry about it crumbling because it's encapsulated. There is still a dead part, but it's not causing me pain. It's not going to cause my bone to completely collapse now. So that is a huge win for me. I'm telling you, I can't even describe the pain I used to be in. I can't describe it. Burning, tingly, just all-encompassing, all the time, like not being able to think, not being able to like function, pain. And to have my life back, to not have pain, to not have to use crutches, it's invaluable. I would have paid $1 million for this. And so many people say like, oh, well, I can't afford stem cells, or I can't afford to do this because my insurance will pay for a knee replacement. And I just beg you to think about what you're doing, because sure, insurance covers a $40,000 knee replacement, but that's time. Like time is money. Recovery, pain, medications, physical therapy, all of this. So it's like when you take all of that into perspective, Regenexx is like a drop in the bucket. And to be able to stand here today and say, I still have my knee. My knee healed itself. I don't have to worry about getting another knee replacement in 15 years when I wear that one out. Because I don't. I have my knee. It's just regrown. So, long story short, if you are considering doing this procedure, don't second guess it. Just do it. Just absolutely do it. However you need to do, whatever you need to do to get the money. I know I had a friend who remortgaged his house, took out another loan so he could get it done. But you know what? He's in his 40s. He couldn't even play with his children. He has his life back. He's out playing soccer with his son, and he's going to father-daughter dances with his daughter. And can you put a price tag on life? I really don't think you can. You know, a lot of people say, oh, stem cells, they don't work. Full disclosure, I actually worked for a short period with the Regenexx clinic here in Pittsburgh, helping to do some social media. And I would see comments all the time like, oh, this didn't work for so-and-so, or this didn't, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of the times, it wasn't the Regenexx procedure they were talking about. They were talking about just getting amniotic stem cell injections, or wherever they get these stem cells. Now, I urge you to do your research before you do a stem cell procedure. It is imperative that your stem cells come from yourself, and depending on what you're using them for, either they come from your bone marrow, or there are some instances where fat stem cells are better. But do your research. Even if you don't go with Regenexx, make sure you do your research, because so many of these stem cell clinics are selling pre-filled syringes of placenta stem cells. But if you go read the studies, there's no live stem cells in them. They will tell you, they will claim to the high heavens that there are live stem cells in there, but there are not. If you go to the science labs and you read those science results, wow, that was like really politically, that was really correct. Read the science results. But if you go see the tests that they've done on these from a third party, not the people that are selling it, you'll see there's no live stem cells. Truly, when you get like an injection of placenta stem cells, it's really like getting a souped up PRP shot. So long story short, or not a PRP shot, you're getting, a PRP shot. You're getting the growth hormone factors in in that placenta injection, but you are paying like 3-4 times like what you should be paying for it. So long story short, this is like getting super convoluted and I'm actually sounding stupid now. But my long story short is that do your research, okay? Make sure your stem cells are from your body because your body is not going to reject your own stem cells. It's not. It's your own body. It's going to. And 3, if you want advice, if you have questions, reach out to me because I'm happy to do it. Because honestly, before I did it, I wasn't sure. I had gone to all of these doctors. I had gone and done all of these different things. But it wasn't until I saw MRI results of somebody, a 6-year-old woman who had similar to what I had and saw that her bone regrew. It wasn't until I talked to a woman who went, I think it was either Hawaii or somewhere down south, but she goes and now she teaches like hiking and paddling and all of these things. She's so active. It wasn't until I talked to these other patients that I saw they had benefits that I was like, this is a no-brainer. I'm going to do this. What do I have to lose? I have to lose the money. That's basically it, right? But I can guarantee you that it's gonna work because your body's not gonna reject your own stem cells. It's gonna heal. So 2 years out, I am ecstatic. I'm still pretty emotional, as you can tell. And I kind of go back to 2 years ago when I was expecting miracles. It was a miracle, but actually in the reality, like the grand scheme of things, it's not a miracle because it works. And it's not hocus pocus. It's not like crazy, weird. I know so many people who have benefited from this. And honestly, I get really irritated. And I know I shouldn't, but I do. I get really irritated when people are like, oh, I can't afford it, or, oh, I can't, it's not going to work for me, or, oh, my surgeon said surgery is the only option and stem cells aren't going to work for me. Of course your orthopedic doctor is going to tell you that. They don't want you to go somewhere else and pay somebody else to be fixed. They want you to get the knee replacement so that in 15 years they can give you another knee replacement because they have quotas to meet. I don't care how nice your doctor is and how much he does care about you. You honestly, and this is a pretty bold statement, but I really feel like you aren't doing your due diligence if you don't go and talk to a Regenexx doctor before you get a joint replacement. Because your world, you're not getting all of the facts before you make a decision. So actually one of my biggest suggestions is to make sure you do your research and you get all the facts before you go ahead. Even if it's with the Regenexx procedure, maybe you go and you decide this isn't for you and you do want to get a joint replacement. That's perfectly fine. I just truly believe we need to empower ourselves and we really need to do our research before we make the best solution. So as I'm rambling on, if you're even still listening, 2 years out, fantastic. I'm doing fantastic. I teach yoga twice a week. I ride my bike 80 to 90 minutes a day. I'm not held back by pain. I'm not held back by mobility issues. If I'm held back by anything, it's just myself, holding myself back, thinking that I can't do something because for 3.5 years I couldn't do it. Like I said, my name is Julie Cerrone. I will list all my contact information below. You can contact me through my blog, my Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. If you have questions, more than happy to answer. It changed my life, and I am forever, ever, ever, ever so grateful for Dr. Pitts at Centeno Schultz out in Colorado. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my freaking heart.